Welcome to another edition of AO with D. Shelton. I am the host of this show, podcast, whatever you want to call it, Del Rico Shelton. As always, we are sponsored by Rose Sweets LLC. That's Rose Sweets LLC, the best kelp cakes and cake pops in the DMV area, small base business out of Southern Maryland, and it is female and black owned. Rawr. Also, by you seeing with the graphics, thank you once again for Riverside.fm for giving me the ability to share this face and this voice throughout the masses via iHeart, Apple, and Spotify podcasts, or wherever you get your podcast from. And please like, share, and subscribe to Hey Yo with D. Shelton. Those three words. Like, share, subscribe, hit the little bell for notifications so you know when I am speaking to you. Also, please check out www.heyyodShelton.com. You can actually see the podcast and listen to it from there as well. That is www.heyyodShelton. And Hey Yo D Shelton is just how it sounds. H as in Harry, E like Edward, Y like yellow, Y like yellow, O like Oscar, D like David, S like Sam, H like Harry, E like Edward, L like Larry, T like Tom, O like Oscar, and N like Nancy.com. How y'all feeling? As I'm recording, this is the day after the Super Bowl. Yes, it's been about a week and a half. Whole lot of stuff was going on. So much that I'm like, damn, I can't pinpoint what I want to talk about. Then the Super Bowl happened. I'm like, bingo! Let's just see what happens. And as I stated before, this is a sports and politics podcast, but with black culture involved. As you can see, if you're watching this, I am a black man born in America. If you listen to this voice, I am a black man born in America. You must know the difference. Once again, you must know the difference. And the topic today is dealing with not just the game, but everything around the game and culture-wise with the halftime show. But because it's sports, let me get to the sports part first. I was wrong. I said on a previous podcast, I want to say the last podcast that I mentioned sports. I want to say I said Kansas City 31 and Philly 24. I was wrong. Congratulations to the Philadelphia Eagles. By me being a Dallas Cowboy fan, I let my emotions get the best of me and not what I normally see on film. Philly was the bigger, stronger, and faster team. Philly was one of 6 teams in the Super Bowl era that did not blitz once. That's right, you heard me. They did not blitz one time. I want to say they got 6 sacks on Patrick Mahomes. Patrick Mahomes had the worst game of his career as far as I'm concerned. They had, I'm speaking of the Kansas City Chiefs, had only 1 first down the entire first half. Hell, they didn't get past the 50-yard line until maybe late in the third quarter. The front four for Philadelphia, rotating bodies, harassed Patrick Mahomes constantly. And the one weakness that I would admit I ignored, because once again, my dislike for the Philadelphia Eagles, was the fact that Kansas City offensive line is pitiful. When Patrick Mahomes did have time, he hit, Worthy on 2 bombs. But that's empty calories, window dressing. Final score 40-22. Philly put up 40 points. If I recall, it's 24-0 at halftime. I'll get in halftime in a sec. This was like a defensive clinic, an offensive clinic. Jalen Hurts, MVP, well deserved. Rushing touchdown, two other passing touchdowns. Was basically, he was brilliant. And to be real, him and Patrick Mahomes are 1-1 against each other in Super Bowls. They're even. I wouldn't mind for a rubber match. But let's be real. Jalen Hurts has outplayed Patrick Mahomes both times in the Super Bowl. Both times. I said what I said. He has. So congratulations, Philly. I know y'all partying. And yes, I do not like the team, but the city of Philadelphia, I love y'all. I love Philly. Heck, I might show up in Philadelphia for some food in the next couple of weeks. And the culture in Philadelphia. And speaking of culture, this is what I want to get into. The halftime show. But let me kind of backtrack a sec. Because as I call him, the 47th president, Doodoo Don, Agent Orange, Donald Trump, showed up at the game. Mind you, I think, I'm not for sure, but allegedly he took pictures with Pat Mahomes' family because Pat Mahomes' wife is a MAGA nut. He also sent message to Travis Kelce and Patrick Mahomes personally. And majority of the Kansas City Chiefs were saying it's an honor to play in front of the president, blah, 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 blah. Already that's a kiss of death because anything Donald Trump touches turns to shit. Kelce had the worst game I've ever seen him play. By the way, what happened to the taper that you usually got, Travis? You showed up at the game like a 70s porn star. And the hair once again. You ain't the cool dude that we the brothers and the sisters, we rock with you. What happened, bro? I mean, that ain't Taylor Swift's boo. Speaking of boos, even though Fox cut it out, Donald Trump, when they showed him, got booed. He is the most disliked president in U.S. history. It's not even fucking close. And I'm so sick and tired, like I said, of living through historical events in this country. I am. Do y'all realize it's rumored that it cost $18 million to get that dude to and from the game? That's our money, taxpayer money. 18 million. You're dealing with Secret Service, the protection, Air Force One, blah, 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 blah. For a guy that didn't stay for the whole game. I know why he didn't, though. The main event of the game, honestly, was the halftime show. And I got notes right here. If you ain't seeing me, I got a book of written notes of the halftime show. That was performed by Kendrick Lamar. 5-time, as of last week, Grammy winner, Kendrick Lamar, for his song, arguably the greatest diss song in history, Not Like Us. An unofficial hip hop slash black national anthem, as far as I'm concerned. And online, Republicans, conservatives, MAGA, they don't know what to do. They don't lost their mind. Lauren Boebert, if I recall, said something like she needed subtitles or some stuff to understand it. You can barely read. Didn't you just get your GED before you got into Congress as a representative? Huh? I mean, one, I can't remember his name. He said, this is not my type of music. No shit. Y'all are mayonnaise. You know what I mean? You got no context, no flavor. You just mayonnaise. If you got some flavor, you might turn out to be ranch or blue cheese. Hell, you might not even be Miracle Whip. Y'all got no culture. The difference between us and y'all, black people built a culture out of nothing in this country. I know what y'all say. There you go, being political. That's what I'm supposed to do. You all, Nate, can you give me a culture, anything culturally that y'all have done when you are like 2 to 3 generations deep? My mother was Irish. Your mother is Irish. You have Irish heritage. You've been indoctrinated in this supposedly godly country. You know what y'all culture is? It's racism, sexism, misogyny, and colonization. Have y'all ever noticed when black people start a trend and then y'all get involved in the trend? We say, oh, it's over, the gig is up. Have y'all ever noticed that? And then the trend dies almost abruptly. You got no culture. You got no flavor. You all are all the same, MAGA. Do you have any other personality besides Donald Trump? You're boring. And if we don't give you a reaction, you don't know what to do with yourself. With the protest that's going on in the country right now, have you noticed that black people, the 92% of black women, and basically the 80% of black men, you barely see us there, don't you? It doesn't have that same effect, do it? And we know it's set up when we see it. I've noticed there's barely any police, no riot gear, no SWAT, no nothing. Let us show up. So you can paint this stereotype of us being angry and the bad guys and violent. When majority of the violence that was with the BLM protest was caused by white supremacist groups and a bunch of dumbasses. Media doesn't never says that 92% of all those protests were peaceful. MAGA and Republicans say cities burned down. Where? I've yet to see a city burn down. I've seen a building or two. No cities. That's another thing for a different day. Let me go to my notes. So there was quite a lot, right? Let me go here. And we'll flip this here. Flip it one more time. Lost the page. Here we go. Got it. I already said about the messages. Oh, let's start off with the dancers. The dancers, as superb as they were dressed in red, white, and blue. symbolizing part of the American flag. The threads, pretty much. Because let's be real, black people are the threads of this country. Nothing don't move without us. As much as you MAGA and want to say, we move the needle in this mug. Whether it be our dollars or anything entertainment wise, or just we're basically the conscience of this country. If you want to get real, we are. That's why you want to whitewash history, because it's the biggest stain on American history of what you have done and constantly do to us. You know, a lot of them, the dancers also was, if you didn't pay attention, they were kind of dressing like a little bit of prison guards here and there. Samuel Jackson played the role of Uncle Sam, narrating the whole show, the halftime show, excuse me. And part of it, it was a double entendre. If over your head. Remember, he played Steven in Django Unchained. And how was Steven? And now we flip it to now Uncle Sam. By the way, Drake, if it's true, he unfollowed Samuel Jackson after the performance, but Samuel Jackson, he don't give a damn. Like that really means something. Ooh. So yeah. The beginning of his set, overshot view, you didn't catch it, but when Samuel came in the middle of the stage, it was a tic-tac board. And Samuel Jackson said the American game. In other words, what the tic-tac-toe symbolizes, America is a game being played right now. You ain't catch it. I did. You know. Let's see. In the beginning, Kendrick said this: the revolution will be televised. You picked the right time, but the wrong guy. Symbolizing a shot at Doodoo Don, Agent Orange, Donald Trump. As to say, hey man, y'all think y'all got over. This dude ain't about that life. He ain't gonna be about that life. He is basically pimping you. And by the time you figure it out, it's too late. As a lot of you MAGAs in Twitter had the hashtag what, leaving MAGA and MAGA regrets. We were telling you this shit for going on a decade. Now you figuring out that is something is now happening to you. You thought it was just going to be black people being affected. No. You thought it was going to be Latino. No. I'm speaking of Latinos for Trump too and blacks for Trump. You thought it was just going to be, us ghetto folk. No. And by the way, say the words DEI. Stop saying DEI. Say what the words are. Diversity, inclusion, equity. Let me say them words again because I got them backwards. Diversity, equity, and inclusion. Why don't y'all ever say the words? Because if you say the words, it's going to make y'all seem stupid. As I always call y'all. You're stupid. Another thing Kendrick said, 40 acres and a mule, this is bigger than the music. In other words, I'm about to do some shit that's going to make you uncomfortable and mad. In code, I don't give a fuck. As the 92% black women and 80% of black men are right now. We don't give a fuck. Hence why we're not protesting. Also, MAGA, since I want to put some context, you do know that Kendrick Lamar is a Pulitzer Prize winner, right? I believe for his album Damn. So a lot of what he did is going to probably go over your head anyway, since y'all don't read shit. It's y'all kryptonite, unless it's something that you like to read about and, well, excuse me, not read about, to fill your dumbass ego in your hate, bigotry, racism, colonization of others, you know, that type of stuff. I already told you about the tic-tac-toe, right? But here's the thing about Uncle Sam. Played once again by Samuel L. Jackson. He pretty much told Kendrick to mellow out. Stop being loud and ghetto. As what you MAGAs, Republicans, tend to say about black people all the time. And I once heard this, and it sticks with me. Don't let my confidence irritate your demons and your insecurities. That shows that you've always been insecure and uncomfortable the whole time. Because I've said it openly on this podcast and social media platforms. Legacy media and everything caters to mediocre white men and subordinate white women. You don't like that message, but it's the truth. The black dancers formed an American flag with Kendrick in the middle, symbolizing America is divided. And the song he used was Be Humble. You know what that means? It pretty much means America wants black people to be humble and be grateful to be in America, to conform, do as we say. And you too can get the American dream. But what happens when that dream is a nightmare? When you've never done right by black people in the first place? I mean, you did steal us, and I'm speaking my ancestors, to build this motherfucker for free. We didn't get free until really 1965. You know, the civil rights era. You know, when it was slavery, Reconstruction, which was broken promises, Jim Crow, civil rights to today. And you're trying to go back for some damn reason. Be humble, huh? Next song we performed was DNA. That was towards us black people. Gotta remember, we kings and queens. We came from things that society uses now. Everybody tends to forget about the Moors that basically ruled Southern Europe and taught white people how to wash their ass with soap, seasonings and shit. We come from that. You know, the stage at one point looked like a black neighborhood, right? And he had people sitting on the lamppost. As, you know, brothers generally do, if they're low enough. You know, the song he played right there was Man at the Garden. That symbolized black America. You know, since we are old and we built this motherfucker for free, and we have to go to, if we have to go to war, we will burn this bitch down before going backwards. We deserve it all. You owe us. America would not be the power if it wasn't for us. See, it takes basically centuries for a nation to get to where America has gotten unless you have labor. Who is the free labor again? You owe us. And you're trying to deny it. And you're trying to want to go backwards to a time where you could say and do whatever you want without any consequences. We will literally burn this bitch down to the ground before we ever go backwards. In other words, we're building a community once again. Because every time when we build a community, somehow you all destroy it. Black Wall Street, Rosewood. Hell, you dropped the bombs in a Philadelphia black neighborhood, I want to say in the mid 80s. That wasn't that long ago. See? Oh, there was another part. It was an X. Again, it's a PlayStation button. Showing again, America's a game. It's being played right now. See, black people, we always know the game. Yes, we know the game. And we try to play said game. But you won't play fair and steal words like woke, which in your code means black. But what's the opposite of woke? It's to be asleep. So you rather be asleep instead of facing the truth of what everything is. Your mediocrity. But let me go back. You know, the song he was playing during that set was Peekaboo. Self-explanatory. You see us, but you don't. In other words, you want us to conform. You want to see us when you want to see us. When it's good for you. When we're playing sports or entertaining you. But you don't want to hear us when we say, hey man, this joint is fucked up. No, it's not. What are you talking about? Yeah. He briefly mentioned in a set Drake and his lawsuits. He's setting something up because he was teasing Not Like Us throughout the whole time. Still Samuel Jackson narrating. Then he played featuring SZA, which was the title track to Black Panther, All the Stars, which symbolizes our natural power. And we're used to the fight and everything, seeing everything. You can't hide the truth. Listen to the lyrics of that song. Black people know the truth of this country. Others don't because we lived it from knee high to an adult, to an older adult, an elder as we call them, if you're really in tune with your spiritual nature. Damn, I can't talk right now. But it symbolizes that. We know the truth. There's nothing you can do to me. Nothing. What else can you do? You have raped, murdered, pillaged, colonized, physical abuse, mental abuse, took away land, took away money, broken promises. We fought in your wars, helped you win said wars. Tuskegee Airmen, to be, to give an example. You see what I mean? But you refuse to do right. Let me go here. Oh, I almost forgot this part. To kind of set up Not Like Us. If you paid attention to Kendrick Lamar's jewelry, which he normally doesn't do a whole bunch of jewelry, but there was a lowercase a. And that lowercase a in music is the note A minor. See where I'm going? That's going to be very important in a little bit. He played at that point, Samuel L. Jackson comes up again and says, that's what we talking about, mellow, da da da. And then the music started to hit for Not Like Us. And then he proceeded to give the first verse. Can't do the whole song. No, 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 no. But when he played, it shows, symbolizes, that's that word again, that we in this country, we're unique. In this stolen land. I said what I said. You know it's true. That's why you're trying to whitewash history again. We made a culture out of nothing. As a matter of fact, you tried as much as you could to either destroy or colonize it for your own gain. But you're not like us. Black people have a natural soul and a heart that I don't think, MAGA, you can ever understand. You're too plain. You're too simple-minded. We are not a monolith by any means. We are not. But there's a shared DNA memory within all of us. There are certain things that we will say and look at each other that we know what the other one's talking about. It's over your head. Hence, this whole halftime show is over your head. We know. Now, when he played the song, at a certain point, he looked at the camera. Say, Drake. Hail me like you like I'm young. That wasn't just for Drake. That's for Donald Trump too. Matt Gaetz, and a whole course of others that have alleged, let me say that word, allegedly committed sexual assault. But the song deals with culture and how we as a people can make lemonade out of lemons. We took pig intestines and made a delicacy, which is chitlins. I ain't gonna lie, I can't stand that shit. You ain't gonna get me to eat chitlins. I don't give a fuck what you say. Smell and stink. But you know what I'm going. You see where I'm going with it. We are a unique specimen in this blue and green ball rolling around the sun called Earth. We created a culture out of nothing. Every genre of music that you enjoy, we created, including the most powerful, hip hop culture, which is rap, is a subcategory of said culture. I am part of that culture. I'm part of the golden age of hip hop. That's why I can appreciate everything that Kendrick was doing. Now, the last set, he had Mustard come out. Yes, Mustard! My bad. Mustard came out and they played TV Off, which symbolizes, this is what it really symbolizes. And I'm talking to you, MAGA, Republicans, Black Trump supporters, Latinos for Trump. If you don't like what you see, turn your TV off. We don't give a fuck. At this point, we don't care. Turn your TV off. Once again, the revolution will be televised. You got the right time, but you picked the wrong guy. In other words, we're used to this shit. It's recycled, just in a different format. We don't care. We're building communities again. And we dare you to fuck it up. This is one of the strongest times that Black people has ever felt since November 5th. We said fuck it. The 92% said fuck it. Because they pretty much have saved this country time and time again. And we as Black men, now speaking of myself, the 80%, we have followed suit. Like, what? I've always said this is the thing that I don't think white patriarch and people can understand. Black men really are the heads of the household. We are. But the black woman is the neck. And they point that motherfucking direction wherever it needs to go for us to get in our attention. And then we handle business. That's the partnership that was passed down from generation to generation to generation, even to our ancestors in Mother Africa. There were places that a man had many wives, sure, but every wife served a purpose. They were a team. It wasn't just because she looked good and to procreate and all that. No, there was a purpose to everything. That's what it is about to be right now. So you see, for all the other POCs, people of color, there's a difference. There's black people and people of color. We don't want allies no more. That's a dirty word. We want accomplices. We want someone in the fight that's willing to die, go to jail, whatever you want to call it, for the purpose of making everything better. See, what you're not going to do is forget that we started the civil rights movement. So Latinos for Trump, you wouldn't have the rights you have now that he's taken away now if it wasn't for us. The birthright citizenship. Donald Trump said openly out his mouth that it was made for black children, slaves, and blacks. That's his definition. You know, it just said, fuck that. No, that ain't true. And right now, J.D. Vance and others are trying to handcuff judges. They say if you go against Donald Trump, it's against the law. No, it's not. You're trying to break those checks and balances. And Donald Trump right now is having a hard time maneuvering those checks and balances. Now, for those that are listening to me in this good state of Florida, you got a special election coming up. You have an opportunity to at least tie the House of Representatives. Vote Democrat. Because as you can see, Florida, one, your economy is gone to shit. If it wasn't for Disney World, y'all be in some trouble. And Miami. I can never forget about South Beach. Damn. But if it wasn't those two places, you'd be shit out of creek. Shit out of luck. To be perfectly honest. You got to understand where y'all at. What time this is now. This is not business as usual. Rights are being taken away. Freedoms are being taken away. They're trying to get rid of the First Amendment now. The ability, the real reason for the First Amendment, for you to speak your mind. Now, it's not without consequence. You know, that's a part that MAGA tends to get confused all the time. You can say what you want, but there's consequence to what you say. But you must understand the times you're in, like I said. You can basically, the Democrats can flip the House in 90 days. Because there's also a special election in New York State. But let me focus on Florida, because I think the New York State one is going to be Democrat. 9 times out of 10. New York State is not dumb. They're not. But I'm speaking directly for Latinos for Trump. As you can see, he's gotten rid of the ability for you to become citizens. He's deporting people left and right. And yes, there are some people that actually are getting deported that are not Latino. They're Haitians. There's actually Ukrainians, quiet as kept, white as white, that are getting deported. It's not being reported because, of course, legacy media is always going to focus on black and brown. So Venezuelans, Cubans, since he's taking that away, what you gonna do? You had the ability to vote. Flip that motherfucker blue. Because no matter what, you are never going to be close to whiteness. Donald Trump has shown you who he was. And what I don't understand is that if a person shows you who they are, believe them. The Arab community, the man during his first term wanted to constitute a Muslim man. What makes you think he was going to help Gaza? You saw that he really wants to level it and use American taxpayer dollars to do it. And do is truthfully an ethnic cleansing of moving 1.8 Palestinian people to other Muslim, Hindu, or just be real, Arabian countries. And those countries said no. So what you gonna do, Donald? You gonna force them? So that's World War III. What you don't understand, MAGA, is that our neighbors up the north, they're preparing for war. He's not joking when he's trying to say annex. So didn't y'all say y'all didn't want war? He's already started a fight that he's not going to be able to win. How so, Rico? Let me tell you. If you think that the world is going to allow Donald Trump to go to war with Canada, you sadly mistaken. And let's be real, Canada got some shit. There's a reason why there's the Geneva Code. Be careful. Mexico's pissed off. Central America's pissed off. South America's pissed off. European Union's pissed off. Australia and New Zealand pissed off. China and every tariff and trade thing he breaks. Do you realize China's going right behind and say, hey, we willing to talk? It's bad enough that the United States when it comes to technological advances, is behind. But you're hollering about DEI so much. And Musk has told you, you stupid. You're lazy and you're stupid. You got Musk going through departments. He got access to your money. Your money. And some of you still want to try to trust a billionaire who, let's be real. When it comes to billionaires, what's the main purpose? To make profit. So how do they make profit? By shortening and cheating workers of not paying them what they're worth so they can maximize profits. So you want a billionaire to look into saving you and the U.S. aid. Hey, farmers, how y'all feel? Because 40% of that aid, if I read correctly, you provide and you get paid to give out food. So now those contracts are broken. Now what? You're going to lose your farms. And guess what happens when you lose your farms? Corporations are going to come and buy your farms. So basically, you'll be working for corporations instead of for you. I can go on and on. I'm not. But back to the halftime show, which went over your heads, MAGA and conservatives and Republicans. When the show basically ended, and he said, "Turn your TV off," there was a big overview, and if you paid attention, it was a joystick, basically the PlayStation joystick. Was it the X, the O, the triangle, and the circle? America's a game. Right now, you're losing. Black people seen the game. And at this point, we're going to do what we got to do for us. and we don't care about everything else. We're paying attention. We're seeing everything, but we're not going to get involved because you're going to start to learn to respect us and treat us as human beings. Because every time we tell you something and you don't listen, it ends up being fucked up. So the pro-Palestine movement, the leftists, Gaza's in trouble. Southern states, they fucked around and almost got rid of your food stamps and your housing and shit, your vouchers. What am I going to do to feed my kids? Wake up. Your racism and your sexism and you're just flat out prejudice and bigotry. It's going to get your shit fucked up. Farmers, this billionaire is messing with your money. What you going to do? Latinos for Trump. What y'all going to do? He's trying to deport y'all left and right. Back to your leftists. Do y'all ever have a plan or y'all just spew off at the mouth? Formulate a plan and conduct said plan. My Muslim and Arab brothers and sisters, are y'all going to start falling for the okie doke and stop with your anti-blackness? Remember, like I said before, he tried to constitute a Muslim ban on y'all. Gaza's about to be glass, which, by the way, is going to be a war crime. So therefore, there's more wars that's going to come. This what y'all wanted? This is what y'all voted for. As the hashtag leaving MAGA and MAGA regrets. This is what you voted for. You let your bigotry, your racism, your misogyny, your patriarchy fuck with you. America's the game. They doing culture war so you can not understand what's going on. They're trying to get rid of the Department of Education. If I recall, a person sent something to me on TikTok that blew my mind. Idaho is trying to legally get out of educating your children. So education, which is pretty much the main focal point of why people can get where they can get, they're trying to get rid of it. Why? They want obedient, stupid workers. Don't want you to question nothing. When you're supposed to question everything. Go figure. It's up to you all. But as for my community, we good. We've seen worse. The difference between us and you all, we've seen this. This has been passed down from generation after generation after generation. Subconsciously, we already know what to do. And we're already doing it. You all are fucked. Because like Kendrick hinted, and what we're telling you, stop fucking with us. Because if we have to, as a unit, and J. Edgar Hoover said this openly, his biggest fear was black unity. Your man don't caused it now. What you gonna do? And with that being said, I'm about to be out, so I once again like to thank Rose Sweets LLC. Rose Sweets LLC, the best cupcakes and cake pops in the DMV area. You can reach them. I forgot to mention this. You can reach them at Row_Sweets_LLC on both Facebook and Instagram, and Row spelled R-O. Black female small business. Now they're on hiatus right now because the owner is expected to bring another generation to this world. So that's a beautiful thing. But still contact them. Because come springtime, they'll be ready to roll. Also, thank you once again for Riverside.fm for giving me the platform to show this face and let this voice be heard on Spotify, Apple, and iHeartRadio, or wherever you get your podcast from. Please like, share, and subscribe to Hey Yo with D Shelton. Those three words: like, share, subscribe. Hit that little bell so you can be notified of when I speak to you. And also check out www.heyyodshelton.com. You can see the podcast there. You can also donate some ducats to your boy if you want. I don't mind. It's going to be a link there that says donate. It's going to say buy me a coffee because I know I love my coffee. It's been, I've grown to love coffee. I don't think I can function without it in the morning. So if you want, hook your boy up. But definitely check out the website. There's a mailing list there for email, rate, and also forgot to mention this last time. If you got some subjects to say, something to say, and you want to be a guest, go ahead. I don't mind. Send that request in and tell me what you do, and I can probably hook it up. you know. But once again, www.heyyodshelton.com. And Hey Yo D Shelton is just how it sounds. H like Harry, E like Edward, Y like yellow, O like Oscar, D like David, excuse me, S like Sam, H like Harry, E like Edward, L like Larry, T like Tom, O as an Oscar, N like Nancy.com. All right. Thank you once again for listening. As I always tell you all, may Father and the ancestors take care of you, your loved ones, and anybody else you care about. I see y'all when I see y'all. Peace.